The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar. My name is Andrew Howran. I'll be one of the presenters today. I have with me here too is Oscar Espinoza. And of course, what probably brought you here is the webinar for the beginner in email marketing. So let me just start off by introducing myself very briefly before we begin. I work here as the Chief Privacy Officer and Manager of Industry Relations. I'm involved in different areas of the company, including deliverability, the privacy compliancy area, and I work very closely in terms of the pre-sales area and as well as post-sales with the account management team. My background has always been pretty much in the messaging industry. However, my past experience has been in terms of technical support, customer service, and product management for a leading anti-spam technology company. Let me just pass it to Oscar. He's going to briefly introduce himself, and then we'll go through the agenda for today's webinar.
Thanks, Andrew. So as mentioned before, my name is Oscar Espinoza. I have a background in business and strategy, and I have been working in this industry for a couple of years now. I started working at Zipper Media as an account manager, which means I got to work on the day-to-day activities for those looking into email marketing, which is why I was invited to participate today. Currently, I am heading the account management services department, acting as a resource for the team as a whole and anyone belonging to Zipper's client base. So, Andrew?
Perfect. Thank you, Oscar. So we have a lot to cover today, and this is our agenda. Really what I want you to get out of this webinar is to be a little more informed in terms of your email marketing, especially if you're a beginner, you're just starting in terms of email marketing. I really want you to have the right sense in terms of the elements that goes into a successful program. Obviously, the webinar is about 30 or 40-minute duration, so we can't cover everything in detail, but I at least want to touch on some of the important elements that goes into a successful email marketing program. So we're going to go through some of these items here, and at the end I'm going to summarize everything. And if you have questions or anything you want to ask, we'll be more than happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. In some cases, people prefer to ask different things privately, in which case, too, we're going to provide our contact information, so feel free to contact us. So first thing we're going to touch on is why email marketing. Obviously, there's a reason that brought you here. You may be doing email marketing. You may want to start in it. And you want to make sure that you do it correctly. So I just want to cover the value of email marketing. We're going to step on next in terms of email marketing terms. And I want to take a focus here is in terms of translating some of these terms that we use in the industry into business terms, just to make it a little bit more relevant and show you how email marketing really ties in closely to your business objectives. From there, we're going to go into a little bit more detail. So we're going to actually focus on some of the important elements of email marketing, starting with infrastructure, then reporting and analytics, creative design, and optimization. From there, Oscar is going to take over. He's going to cover privacy and compliancy, reputation and deliverability, and time, resources, and expertise. I'll take it over from there, and I'm going to go over a summary that I hope will help you in terms of choosing a solution and looking and making sure that your solution has the important elements for your email marketing program. So let us begin here. Why email marketing? Well, there's probably a lot of different reasons that we can say why email marketing is so valuable, and I can probably generate a lot of different statistics, case studies, but I think it really comes down to 3 points. One is the return on investment. And compared to other types of direct marketing channel methods, email marketing is one of the highest or most cost-effective. There's a statistic here, $1 spent equals $45. That's just an example. Obviously, it's going to depend on your business, what you're sending, how will you do it. But overall, if we compare it to other direct marketing channels, email marketing is highly cost-effective. The other valuable aspect of email marketing is that it's measurable. So if you're sending out a campaign, say you're using postage mail, you're sending out catalogs, well, there's a lot of feedback information that you're not getting. You don't know, for instance, if they've opened the package, if they've read it, what part they found relevant, whether or not they've put in the recycle bin, whether they've put it in the garbage. There's a lot of feedback information that's available in terms of email marketing. You can find out, for instance, if someone has opened it, if they've clicked, which part of the message they've clicked on, and there's a lot of different things as we'll see later is that it makes it a highly desirable method for direct marketing because you can optimize then using this feedback information. Finally, email marketing is very good in terms of building and maintaining relationships with your customer base. One of the key things now in terms of industries and marketplaces is really understanding your customer and understanding their needs, keeping in touch with them, providing them value on an ongoing basis, and making sure that your brand is always in the forefront, so that in terms of buying decisions, they're going to think of you first in terms of making a purchase. So there's a lot of different areas here, and we'll cover it a little bit later on in terms of different email creatives that you may want to send. But building and maintaining relationships is one of the email marketing strengths, because you can actually use a lot of the feedback information to better understand your customer base and to make business decisions on that. So we're going to quickly cover here in terms of terms. So we have here some email marketing terms, and really this is a translation into some of the business terms you may be more familiar with. So this is not a complete list, and even within our industry, what many of you may find confusing is sometimes a lot of the terms have different meanings. So that's just part of the dynamism of this industry and how terms and meanings change. But let me just cover some of these very briefly. So we have opt-in. Opt-in is a subscription page. Someone has gone to your website. Maybe they've signed up for the newsletter. So this would represent new customers or prospects. By contrast, you may have an opt-out. So someone who sent a message, they've unsubscribed. Well, that represents customer attrition. Going down the list, you may have a spam complaint. So you've sent a message to someone that's maybe using a web-based client, such as Yahoo or AOL. They accessed your message, and maybe they clicked on report spam. Well, that's customer attrition, but it's also a reflection of possibly other causes. Maybe it was poor targeting. Maybe what you sent them wasn't relevant. Maybe they didn't recognize your message. So the key point here is that in terms of all these different terms, they usually translate into some type of business issue that you have to address. And if I go down there, we have, for instance, a terminology that we use in the email marketing industry, inactive or unresponsive recipients. So people that show no signs of opening or clicking. Well, these could be dormant customers or segments. And depending on how they fit in, there could be different strategies of reactivating them or providing value. Maybe if it's a customer that hasn't found any value in terms of your products or services, maybe a coupon would reactivate them. And then finally, we have in the end deliverability and reputation. And Oscar's going to go into a little bit more detail on that. But the point to get across here is that just because you click the send button doesn't mean your messages are going to be delivered to the inbox. There's a host of different factors that goes into filtering decisions, how the messages get delivered. And this has a reflection on what we call your sender reputation. And the best translation for sender reputation, I think, is brand equity. So if you're a business or company, based on your brand image or your brand equity you have in the marketplace, you have a certain degree of trust. And because of that trust, there's a lot of things that you can ask for, you can demand that another company that doesn't have the same brand equity cannot do. Okay, so we're going to get into the meat of things now. You can see there's a lot of information on this slide. These are some of the key elements or key areas that goes into a successful marketing program. We're going to start covering each of these in detail. However, because each of these they could be quite, we can actually go into a webinar in themselves for each one of these. So we're going to go over at least an overview of each, and then at the end we'll be able to answer any of your questions or anything else you want to ask. The point to get across here, what I really want to emphasize, is that if you really want to have a successful email marketing program, it's not just a case of getting a copy of Microsoft Outlook or a very simple tool. There's a lot of different aspects that goes into it that really make your program successful. And obviously you can see the statistic here on the slide. Marketing Sherpa, in terms of their buyer's guide, they estimated have a really sound platform and program, it probably costs about $250,000 a year in software, servers, etc. Obviously that's going to depend. It's going to depend on your business goals, your needs, etc. But the really great thing about the industries is that there's companies or email marketing companies that have the economies of scale. So they've already invested in a lot of this in terms of expertise, the right tools, infrastructure, and so on. And you, as a business or organization, you can then reap some of those benefits by using their services.